guys, and welcome to Azur Lane Meta. Today we're going to be taking a look at the update for July 9th to Azur Lane. Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to be taking a look at the different ships that are coming into Azur Lane with PR3. We also have a lot of other things to look at. We'll run past really quickly what the update's going to bring, and then we'll get into the PR3 ships, which is what all of you guys care about. So the first thing that we have in for the update is some changes to how you guys, want to work with PR1. So I know a lot of you guys have kind of complained about the English getting the PR seasons too quickly. So they've implemented a little bit of help for the English players to catch back up, since we've had maybe about 6 or so months, and they've had like 14 months over in Japan. So what are those? We are going to be getting a combat data pack. This basically allows you to do some new missions, and these missions lower the EXP requirement to grind PR1 ships. So it makes it a little less EXP that we need to grind. Also, if you have already done the ships, you can actually turn these in at the prototype shop, which is a new shop that a lot of people don't still know about, where you can kind of get the blueprints you need by changing out the blueprints that you don't need for the ones that you do need. So you can actually change in these mission combat data packs to get extra blueprints if you've already finished the grind. We also have the catch-up system. This allows you to pick a PR1 ship and get blueprints for that ship when you do research that's not for PR1. So you do this research, and then you get additional bonus PR1 ship blueprints, the one of your choice, and that's only 300 blueprints per account, so there is a hard cap on that. So these two things are meant to really just kind of help you catch up on PR1 if you're newer, or just aren't spending hundreds of dollars on the game and haven't finished PR1 and PR2. Okay, moving on, we move on to PR2. So PR2 now has moved into Fate Simulation time. So all of the priority rare ships, so not Azuma, not Frederick, are going to get Fate Simulated skills. So we can go take a look at those right now. So here we are for Georgia. Main gun spread decreases by 3 and plus 20% damage to heavy cruisers, large cruisers, battleships, and battleship carriers. 10% extra damage dealt to carriers and light carriers. That's just a straight damage buff. Georgia, I guess the main sad part about Georgia is that she has one less main gun mount than typical battleships, which means she's lacking the overall damage department. Decreasing that gun spread and increasing that damage to basically all backline ships is basically going to allow her to kind of decimate a lot of heavy ships. Not exactly sure she's going to be PvP meta, but she definitely will increase in her ability to be a boss killer. This is a fantastic Fate +5 here. I don't think there is a single Fate +5 in PR1 that would even stack up to Georgia's PR2 Fate +5. So let's see what's next. Kitakaze. 10 seconds after the battle starts, decrease self-damage by 6% for 50 seconds and trigger a special barrage. We'll have to see what that special barrage is, but decreasing damage taken is nice. She is a little bit squishy, being a destroyer. Trigger this barrage again for every 8 hits with the equipped torpedo weapon. So this is pretty good. This is kind of more what I would say is on par with what a priority rare Fate +5 is going to look like. We do, 6% is nice, but it's not going to make a huge difference for something as small as a destroyer. And yeah, we have to see what the barrage does. I'm not exactly sure. Every 8 hits with the equipped torpedo weapon, it's going to be kind of difficult to get 8 hits with your torpedo weapon. Even if all 5 equipped torpedoes hit, you're still going to have to do that, basically fire the torpedo twice. So that part of the skill is kind of meh. But pretty good. I mean, helpful. She's generally not used for PvP at all, and for PvE, she's like one of the better firepower destroyers. So kind of interesting decision here, focusing on torpedoes and survivability. Okay, we'll move on to Seattle. You know, she's not the AA queen, but she's kind of the princess. So let's see. When enemy plane is shot down in the AA circle, you self-increase the firepower and AA by 15% for 18 seconds. This cannot stack, so if you shoot down 2 or more, it just goes here. If airspace control is not in air denial or air incapability, which is based on your ACB when you go into PvE, so this part only really accounts for the PvE mechanic, you trigger once at the start of battle when 15 enemy planes are shot down. You increase her own firepower and reload by 20%. So this is for more of the PvP. So this is more for the PvE component. She, you know, increases that reload. This is actually really nice. Like these buffs are not, they're like 15-20%. Those are kind of significant here. They do have trigger requirements, but they're not too difficult. Seattle's going to be shooting down planes most likely. So when you know, we'll have to see what World 14 looks like, but in World 13 she can even sometimes shoot down planes. So this is pretty good. Okay, finally Gascon. Remember, we don't have the DRs here because they aren't getting fate simulated +5 here. So Gascon is the last one. At the start of the battle, if the self health is below 50 or is greater than 50%, then you improve her own AA stat by 12%, and you enhance the second skill barrage that she has. When the HP falls under 50%, she increases her own evasion by 30% and heals for 8% of her max HP over 8 seconds. So I'm assuming that's linear, so 1% per second for 8 seconds. And it can trigger twice per battle. Oh, that's interesting. This is pretty good. This makes Gascon a lot better. So Gascon, if she's starting with the high HP, she gets more AA, which is helpful if you're trying to do higher worlds. We'll have to see exactly how the enhanced barrage looks, but I'm confident it'll be pretty good. And then obviously she heals herself twice and gives an evasion boost. I mean, it's not evasion rate, but 30% is definitely pretty decent. So that basically wraps it up for the PR2. The PR1 changes, a bunch of the ships that came in the last event are going to be added to the general build pool permanently. Yeah, I mean, we get Seattle's new skin, we get challenge mode season 5, nothing really too big. I guess also another thing that we have is that PR1's combat data collections have been changed to use only the Vanguard ships, our main fleet ships. So there's no like where you have to use a specific type of ship, kind of like grinding for room, but you can't use Z23. That you're not going to be able to do that now after this update. So it should make it even a little bit easier. The equipment menu is going to be changed, so one of the things that a lot of the people have complained about, at least on the meta server for the Discord, is they come and say to me, wait, why does this equipment work this way? This is not what it says in the game, and we always tell them that the equipment in the game is always wrong. Like, use other sources from Mainz or Wiki or whatever, because they're just wrong. Like, I think the notorious one is range. Like, if you look at in-game range, that's just completely inaccurate to how the game effectively works. So, to my understanding, they're going to be changing the equipment screen so that it better details actual stats that matter, right? Everyone tells you that the Helldiver is the best playing, which it is, but if you look at the stats, you might be a little bit confused about why, and that's because the equipment menu is not very good. So I'm happy they're changing that. That's a pretty nice update, even though it's not huge for this update. And then the Medal of Honor exchange has been updated. Basically, now we're going to be able to get PR2 ships blueprints instead of PR1 ships. I don't think many people are getting most of their blueprints this way anyway. Not a big deal. Okay, let's take a look at Drake here first. So we got 5,668 health. Obviously, this is a dev level 30, which people won't probably get for 6 months at least. But we have something to look forward to. We have firepower, torpedo, anti-air. So she's a heavy cruiser with a torpedo, so that's kind of scary. Reload. So what I'm looking stat-wise here, she looks like Rune, which Rune is a very powerful heavy cruiser, one of the better ones. So stat-wise, that's what she's looking like. So let's go see what we have. So she has the main gun +1, that's nice. Oh, we have the preloaded torpedoes, so that's a big difference from Rune. So that means she's going to launch her torpedo at the beginning, unlike, Rune, which was a big component there. Efficiency is 130%. That's standard for a good heavy cruiser. Torpedo and AA is a little bit higher than usual, but still pretty good. So let's look into the stats. Okay, secondary gun crit rate is improved by 50%. Secondary gun ammo is changed to a special secondary ammo. So this is going to work like York, where you have like a secondary gun. Wow, that's interesting. So I mean, she's going to be outputting a lot of damage here. So let's read the rest of the skill here. I think when the main gun is normal or HE ammo, the main gun ammo is changed to special HE ammo with enhanced modifiers. So, okay. So what I see here is that you can equip one of those really crappy CA guns with normal ammo and get HE. Basically get HE modifiers out of it, and it looks like this is going to be improved. We don't know exactly what the percentages for those modifiers are going to be, but they're likely going to be higher. They're likely going to be like probably +5, +10% higher than the standard HE modifier. So that's actually pretty good. I assume that this also starts burning too, so it means this is a really powerful skill. It looks really boring. It's like a really boring skill, but that means we have a secondary gun on top of the torpedo mount, and the crit rate is 50%, is quite a bit, and we get enhanced ammo just given to us. So we're obviously going to want to not equip her with the AP gun. So that's that. Okay, second skill. Every 20 seconds when it's fully enhanced, every 20 seconds fire a special barrage, heal self 15% of damage dealt by this barrage, and for every killing blow, she increases her own firepower and reload by 5%, lasting for the rest of the battle. It caps at stacking 3 times, so 15% cap. So this is the barrage that she has. Looks very menacing. We see some AP bullets, we see some HE bullets. Here we see some damage 92 times 3. So that's pretty significant. So it's a good barrage. It's a really good barrage. And we're healing 15% of it. So kind of like Vampire here. Yeah, very strong. We get, so she's like a mix of kind of like Baltimore, because she has that like ammo change. We have a little bit of rune stats. We have York's secondary weapon. We have Vampire's health healing, although Vampire's a terrible ship, so self-healing is kind of wasted on her. But now this is on a good ship, a good base. we have a lot of fun things here. Obviously the 15% damage to sirens, that's like all PR ships have that skill. So we'll just kind of skip past that. Overall, Drake seems very good. I mean, she's a DR, so she's gonna be, you know, not useful for a long time. Yeah, I don't have much to say about her. You know, she's not necessarily as like mind-blowing as when like Azuma came out or when Frederick came out, but she's very powerful. We're going to be very helpful to those HMS fleets, and yeah, so she, you know, we'll see what the other ships are. I hope she's, you know, I hope that the other ships have some unique things too. Alright, let's move on next to KMS Mainz, a light cruiser. We have medium armor, so that's good. Wow, that's a lot of stat, over 5,000. That's uncommon for a light cruiser. That's more in the range of a heavy cruiser. Firepower, torpedo. Wow, okay, so this is a pretty beefy. Wow, that's a lot of anti-air actually. She kind of feels like almost more beefy than Prince. She feels like a Prince, but she's a light cruiser. So this is odd. Anti-air means that potentially she could be used to bring, you know, to a late main story with a lot of air here. Yeah, these are very powerful stats for a light cruiser. Very powerful stats. Alright, let's go look at the upgrades. We get our main gun +1, great. We get our preloaded torpedo, great. So we get some extra whatever efficiency stats, all pretty good. Our gear efficiencies are a little bit lower than standard for a light cruiser, but her stats are very good, and you know, her stats tell me she's supposed to be a tank. She's got a lot of health, a lot of anti-air, and so yeah, so you know, these efficiencies are less important. So damage wise, I mean, she's gonna be more damage than Prince, but okay, let's go into the skill here. So every 15 seconds create a frontal shield, so kind of just like Prince almost. Blocks 8 bullets and lasts for 8 seconds. If the shield breaks from damage, you fire a counterattack barrage that has AP bullets, HE bullets. You can see the damage down there, 36 times 16. And increases the firepower and accuracy by 8% and can stack up to 2 times. It doesn't say how long that increase self buff will last, so it could potentially be until the end of the battle. So that's pretty good. Anytime you have a shield, one of the new things that they're starting to do with the shield skills is having if they break, so that's part of the power creep in them. And so yeah, so we have Prince Eugen like kind of stats with basically an upgraded shield, and some other things like that. So interesting. We got two more skills. One of them is a siren skill, and the other, I guess, 3 more skills. One of them is a barrage. One's the siren skill. So those we already know what they are, but we'll see what this last one is here. So at the start of the battle, if this ship is the lead ship, probably she's a tank, so that's probably pretty good. You increase the speed by +5, so that actually puts her at a pretty good range. I mean, her base speed is 25, so nothing to, nothing that fast. I mean, it's even slower than Drake, but putting it up to 30 is nice, I guess. Evasion by 12, plus 12%. That's obviously where big tanks like this need the evasion, so that's nice. And 15% less damage taken. Oh wow, okay, now we're talking. And for the first 30 seconds. So, only the first 30 seconds. If the ship is not the lead ship, self-crit damage. So increase the crit damage by 25%. And you get to fire barrage with a 70% proc chance every 15 seconds. It's a 36 times 6. We are normal ammo. That sounds not really worth it. Normal ammo, 36 times 6, with only a 70% chance. Okay, crit damage, it's like 25% is nice. Okay, so you're going to want to put her in the lead ship. She is a tank. That 15% less damage taken and plus 12% evasion. Super nice. Speed, you know, I will take it because she's really slow. Overall, this seems like a slight upgrade to Prince Eugen. But, you know, the front line for KMS is so weak. They'll take what they can get. You can throw this in the front, and that'll be really nice for them. And so this and Rune, you know, Rune in the back, this in the front, will be pretty good if you want to go stick to your only KMS. Alright, let's go to another heavy cruiser. A lot of cruisers in this section here. We go Chesire from HMS once again. So we have the health. Pretty good. Firepower, significantly better than something like a Mainz. The torpedo is better. AA is even better. So wow, that A is massive. That's she's going to be significantly. I mean, she's really strong too. I mean, she's a heavy cruiser. A little bit slower. Well, not slower. Slower reload. Faster in speed, actually. Yeah, Mainz is really slow. Mainz, like, she's classified as a light cruiser, but she really feels like she should be a heavy cruiser. Anyway, back to Cheshire. So we have medium armor. We got a good pool of health here. Looks like we're gonna have torpedoes and stuff like that. So that's all pretty good. All right, so let's go look here. An AA mount. Oh wow. Okay. So do we not get a main gun +1? No, we don't. Okay, so that's gonna hurt a lot on her surface fleet damage, but we do get an AA mount. So that means that she's probably gonna be specialized to AA. She's got over 400 anti-air. She's no longer like, she's not like Isuzu, who's a little bit weaker on the survivability scale. But yeah, that AA mount with over 400 AA, she's going to be usable in World 13, which is nice, which means that you're going to be able to take, I mean, between her and Drake, and you're going to be able to start taking full British fleets there. We got 165% AA efficiencies. I would expect, you know, that to be pretty high after seeing the AA +1 mount. Torpedoes and C8 guns are decent, but once again, maybe we can do a little bit of damage with the torpedo. Her torpedo stat is not that good. Yeah, she's really, this is kind of interesting. Okay, self damage taken is reduced by 15%. Well, that's just nice. Every 12 seconds after the battle starts, there is a 100% chance when you level the skill up to fire a barrage. So that's going to help with the damage output where, you know, she's lacking. It's HE, it's 56 by 3. You know, the fact that it's guaranteed and it's every 12 seconds means that it's going to add up, so it's not that bad. And especially if you're using it, she's not a PvP ship at all. So if you're going to be using this for PvE, you know, primarily, that's going to be helpful for taking out like mobs and stuff like that, where, you know, you don't necessarily need the most damage. So good skill for her use. Okay, moving on. Load time for the first round of torpedoes is reduced by 70%, 15% chance upon taking damage to trigger increase to herself, 5% firepower, evasion, and AA. This can stack up to 3 times, so that's 15%. So that's pretty good. We're gonna be, so, you know, on fire, she's gonna be taking, she can stack that, and that's gonna be pretty good to get 15% basically on evasion and AA, which is kind of going to be her important stat. And the load time on torpedoes is just nice. I mean, it's not that important. We got obviously extra damage to sirens and our barrage, which is super cute, by the way, with the little paws. And yeah, this ship is kind of niche, but I like it. It's gonna be useful, I think. Okay, next we're moving on to Champagne. This is probably the ship that I'm most interested in seeing what the stats look like and what the skills and what everything looks like, because we just got Richelieu and she was a beast, and if she can get some support, I mean, she's got St. Louis, and she got Azur, and she has Jean-Bart, and she's got Gascon, and Gascon obviously just got a pretty big improvement in her Fate Simulated +5. But I'm looking to see what Champagne can bring to the table, because this could potentially help a lot. So we'll take a look here. 6,896 health is a little bit lower than some of your battleships. She's medium armor, not heavy armor, so she is going to be more vulnerable with that lower health pool. Her evasion's not anything higher or lower than your standard battleship, but a lower health pool and medium armor instead of heavy armor means she is going to be a prime target potentially for early barrage like Gimps and killing her. So hopefully she has some other stuff. Firepower, that's a massive firepower number. AA is a little low, reload is really high, so you know, that's there. Accuracy is decent, it's nothing special. Speed, I always find funny that they put that in for backline ships. I don't know why that's there. And like all PR ships, they are going to be 0 luck. So let's take a look. Okay, we get our preloaded gun. And I don't see a main gun 3, so she only gets 2 fired shots like all the French ships, and she gets 1 preloaded, so very standard. Just like Michelou, just like Jean-Bart, just like basically all the French ships. So that means that they hit quickly, but not necessarily as hard as some of the other ships. We got good firepower. Wow, we got a massive efficiency, 180% for that main gun. That's insane. AA is terrible, so don't bring this to World 13. Man, okay, so we have in the makings potentially a good ship. She's a little bit, I mean, we'll have to see what the skills have to say, but she's a little bit, you know, weak in terms of the defenses, but in terms of her offense, she can fire really quickly with that preloaded. She's got great firepower, great battle gun efficiency. Okay, so main gun load time is reduced by 40% when the main gun fire an accompanying barrage. Okay, so we just decreased the load gun. That's awesome. That's really strong. Especially since you're preloading a gun and you're gonna have a 40% reduction. That means she's and she already has a high reload. That means potentially she's firing twice before anyone fires once. So even though she only gets 2 shots per salvo instead of 3 shots like a typical battleship, she's firing twice, meaning she's getting 4 effectively. Wow, that's really actually nice. This is kind of like, I feel like the French are kind of like the Akaga fleet, what they were back then. And you know, we get a 20-second barrage as well, so you know, 20 seconds is not necessarily on schedule where you want firing, but it's pretty good nonetheless. That barrage is AP shells, which is going to be nice. We have the on fire barrage, which is, you know, weak but still good, and then we have the other barrage with 3 170 shells of AP. That's significant. You can take a look at it here. This skill's good, goes perfectly with what her utility is. Okay, moving on. We have the next skill. When equipped with an HE main gun, you increase her firepower by 5%, her AA by 15%, and her damage modifier versus heavy armor is increased by 15%. So that's really nice because, once again, she's going back to that French HE gun love, and going to be pretty powerful. The 5% firepower self buff is really unnecessary, but we'll take it, and she'll take it. But that damage modifier, heavy armor, which is their weakness, is nice, and the fact that her barrages and AP shells is also nice. So it takes away a lot of that weakness of having to use HE when you go against heavy armor, when you have the AP shells for the barrage, and then you have a plus 15% damage modifier, which is actually very significant. When you're equipped with an AP main gun, she gets the 5% firepower boost, so I don't know why they had to write that way, but whatever. Reload up 15% instead of the AA, and your crit rate goes 20%. I'm probably sticking with the HE gun here, especially if you're going to be using her in the French fleet, which is what you should be using her in. Like, the ship is designed to go with Richelieu. You have to use her with Richelieu to get basically the meta out of her. And then you're probably going to stick to the HE, so this part of the skill not so useful. When the HP is greater than 75%, you take 50% of the flagship's damage taken for them. When HP is less than 75%, self-buff evasion and accuracy by 15%. Holy crap! She can take Richelieu's damage. I didn't even get to this part. And I was thinking, oh, she has to be using Richelieu. She's working she's pairing up really nicely. And they go on and throw a San Diego-like effect, like San Diego, Washington-like effect for her and Richelieu. Obviously, it works with any flagship. But nice. So you're going to be decreasing your flagship's damage, and that is very nice. I mean, she's not necessarily the big tank you particularly like want to be shielding your flagship, but Richelieu is very powerful, so keeping her alive is good. And then your 15% siren. Alright guys, we're on to the last one, because obviously we don't have that 6th ship, so we'll have to see if there is a slot for that. But yeah, we only have 5, obviously, the rumors of it not being done. We're going to Odin, so let's take a look at what Odin can bring us. Okay, Odin has heavy armor, so that's generally considered a better thing than medium armor. Health is a little bit higher, but still nothing compared to something like Nagato class battleship. But Bismarck is almost close to 9,000. I mean, Frederick is literally like over 10,000. So this 7,000 health pool is like closer to an Azuma than it is to a real battleship. Okay. I mean, it's more than Champagne, but it's not really that much firepower. Not very much. I'm assuming she's gonna have like main gun +1. So, they're there. We have torpedoes, so that means we have some sort of torpedo skill. We have anti-air. Okay, reloads. Pretty decent. Accuracy stat is not good. 62 is pretty low there. So she might be missing evasion. Nothing special and whatnot. And of course we have the curse of the PR luck of 0. Okay. Wow. Okay. Battleship gun efficiency is 140%. That is, I guess, that is like on average. Yeah. Okay, efficiency is nothing really too special. We don't have an auxiliary gun. That's like strange. We have torpedoes, so she equips torpedoes instead of an auxiliary gun. This is unique, not necessarily good. The efficiency is actually high, and the stats are, well, similar to a cruiser's, so potentially these torpedoes are going to be not necessarily terrible. Okay, we found out that Odin has a ghost auxiliary, so that makes her a little bit better in the position that she is. I guess we'll have to figure out how good that ghost auxiliary is, but at least that means she isn't defenseless. She has some auxiliary weapons, but you won't be able to equip it with the proper auxiliary gun that you need for the situation. Her barrage here, okay, we're going to take a look at her barrage. Pretty standard. We got what looks like AP shells. We got pretty much a all-hitting, all-encompassing barrage as well. I'm not too sad about that. Alright, let's look at these skills here. Will be placed at the special placement in the battle. Will be placed at a special placement in battle in the back line, and this is in front of the flagship, basically. Okay. I think that is decent, because it means that, like, I don't know necessarily that's going to be bad, because she's going to have torpedoes, and we probably want to make them fire. She's also going to be able to block some of the damage your flagship is going to take. So we'll have to read more. We'll read more before we finish our thought here. Self-damage taken is reduced by 20%. Can't be mad about that. Every 15 seconds, you trigger a sonar sweep that reveals enemy subs. Lasts for 10 seconds. During this sweep, friendly Vanguard ships take 15% less torpedo damage. This looks useful for if torpedoes are relevant. Is this a plug to World 14 being needed for torpedoes? I don't know. We got, a couple specific ships that benefit with this kind of sonar sweep. So maybe World 14 will use them. Maybe there will be more game modes that need them, such as the last new big game mode that I revealed earlier on this channel. I'm not exactly sure, but this is an alright skill. The 15% less damage taken is nice. The special placement I think will end up being a good thing given that she has torpedoes. And it kind of actually almost puts her in guard of the flagship, which we assume is going to be a battleship. If you're doing it, we're going to kind of be protected by that. I don't know how I feel about this, but obviously the sonar sweeps don't do anything for PvP, and right now they're pretty useless as well for PvE. But that could change potentially in the future, so she could get better. All right, let's move on. Self torpedo spread enhanced. Okay, that we'll have to find out a little bit more about. Every 18 seconds after the battle starts, 75% chance to fire a special barrage. That's the barrage we looked at earlier. It's we have the AP bullets. Those are some nice 150% efficiencies around the bat. And she's going to be in the center, remember, so that means that's like you can't put her on the side and be like, okay, target a ship. It's going to be targeting that center ship. I think Odin's really cool. I think she's got torpedoes. She's got some unique placement skills, some sonar, whatever. A really neat ship. I think she is probably the worst ship of the 5 we've looked at. She's going to be really niche. I think her placement is going to be like pretty niche for sonar equipment. I don't really see her being useful in PvP, although maybe someone will come up with a useful thing of maybe blocking the flagship's damage or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. Like blocking Bismarck. She's kind of a disappointment. Obviously, she's a battle cruiser, but she feels like a disappointment for KMS. And Mainz is like an improved Prince Eugen. But I don't even know if you can consider her better than Rune. So I would argue that Mainz and Odin are probably the worst ships of PR here. Mainz is a power-crept Prince Eugen. Odin is a unique ship of her own, but very niche for, game modes that are not necessarily even necessary right now. Chesire is another anti-air queen, like Seattle. But Seattle actually can do damage. Chesire loses a main gun +1, but she gains an AA mount, which means she's like full. I wouldn't be surprised if she's gonna be one of the most effective anti-air ships in the Vanguard that there is. Obviously, I can't look at that exactly right now, but I would argue she's gonna be like top 3, definitely, if not the top. Champagne, I might say that Champagne might be the best ship here, just because she has synergy with good fleets already. Richelieu, Jean Bart is a very powerful fleet, given that they all have preloaded. So now we're going to be looking at a fleet that can basically fire off all their salvos right at the start of every battle, and the Champagne is probably going to fire off her second salvo before most battleships can even fire, or carriers fire, meaning yes, they all lose a main gun mount, but you're going to be firing 8 shells potentially into your enemy, at least for PvP, before a standard slow Enterprise might proc or something like that. So that is super nice, and obviously those shells are super painful shells, but obviously they can miss, so that's kind of the penalty there, is they can miss, and you only got 2 per ship, because you don't have that main gun +1. But I really, the French fleet is gonna be better. I was gonna do a data analysis talking about that, and man, I can only expect them to get better. That's probably the ship I'm gonna do first. Drake, very powerful, but boring to me. Boring, I mean, she's just like, okay, we just kind of took all the really good heavy cruisers, mixed them kind of into this little mesh that doesn't really have too much of an identity. Our design of the character is pretty cool, but her uniqueness, it's kind of like, okay, we meshed like Baltimore and York and Rune and a bunch of, those things. We kind of just meshed them all together. All the good, any good heavy cruiser, we'll throw it together and make it. So she's gonna be good. Possibly the best heavy cruiser, probably actually the best heavy cruiser that there is in the game. You probably won't see her around for months, but yeah, okay, so that takes it out for all of the ships. Alright, so one of the biggest things that we have left is the equipment. We have a lot of new equipment that we have to take a look at here from PR3. So first things first, we get the high-powered full control radar, which is something that has been in the game for a while, but most players don't have, unless you were a player from the very beginning of the beta, the first event basically, Fallen Wings. You don't have this item. Even the rerun, when they added it to the archives, didn't allow you to get this item, so it's finally being added to PR3. That's something that I hoped for and wanted, and so I expected that they could potentially do this, and they did, so I'm happy about that. But let's look at the new gears. But yeah, that old gear, that auxiliary gear for your battleships is kind of a must-have. It's amazing, especially with the new French stuff. But let's look at the new stuff. So we have a new DD gun, the 114mm. Its ammo is normal. This is generally not very good. The Tashkent's gun is probably the only other one that's like super good there, and it's kind of weird. This gun, it only gives you 25 firepower and 20 AA. Its range is 50, 1.01 second cooldown. Coefficient is 120%, and our armor mods are 100% for the light armor, 50% for heavy, or 50% for medium, and 20% for heavy. I mean, this gun probably needs a little bit of testing to see if it's viable, but I don't really like it. Not super great. Okay, so then we have a CA gun, the twin 234. So they have the triple 234 and the twin 234. The triple is the rainbow gun, and the gold gun is the twin. Obviously, the rainbow has 65 firepower as opposed to 45. Range is both 70 for both of them. Coefficients are both 115%, and they both basically have normal ammo, but their armor mods are different, so it's kind of interesting. The special modifiers for this normal ammo is actually pretty good. 115% for the light armor, 115% for the medium armor on the rainbow, 110 for the gold, and then 95% for heavy armor and 90% for the gold gun for heavy armor. So pretty good. The reload 6 seconds on the gold, or 6.17 seconds on the gold, 7.05 seconds on the rainbow. these are probably best in class CA guns, but are they a significant upgrade? That just be seen on the exact damage calc. But you're gonna be wanting to get these guns eventually. But the rainbow gun you're not gonna get for a while, and the gold CA gun will be fine and probably good. AA gun, the sextuple loafers, 150 damage, reload 1.18, 45 AA, and then 28 range. This is the new best AA gun for AA purposes. Obviously, the Bofors Stag is still going to be the most relevant for your battleships that need that hit boost. But for guns, for ships that you want to have the best AA equipment on, for actually shooting down planes, this is going to be your gun. Obviously, yeah, the AA guns that boost firepower, hit stat, have their own niche relevance. Okay, let's look at the two battleship guns. So we're going to look at the triple 305mm first. This is HE ammo. It's 105x3. Armor mods are going to be 140 for light armor, 110 for medium, and 90 for AP. So that's pretty good. Coefficient is not necessary. We don't know that yet. We'll find that out soon. Obviously, we're recording this before the update starts here in English, so we don't know everything yet. Give us a break, but we're trying to get those fast. Reload is 18.2, which is not bad. That's actually really fast. We got splash damage at 15, and firepower 45, like standard gold equipment. I can't tell you exactly what this is going to be without knowing the coefficients and a couple other things, but this is looking pretty relevant. Potential to take the spot of the MK, but the MK will probably still be very doable, especially since this gun will take a while to get. Then we have the triple 406 millimeter, 150x3 AP. That's really nice. The armor mod's 40 for light armor. That's pretty low. 140 for medium. That's nice. And then 120 for heavy armor. Coefficient's 110%. Reload is 24 seconds in 24.02 seconds. 15 splash, and then 45 firepower again. So this gun is pretty good. It's going to be one of your good AP guns. Obviously, it's not going to take over the replacement of any of those guns that need the HE. HE tends to be the gun ammo you want to use, but this is going to be a very viable option for your AP guns. The last thing that I want to tell you guys before I head off here is the requirements. How much grind are we going to need for PR3? Well, first, how are we going to get the ships? So it's going to be fleet tech. That's how you guys unlock the ships to develop them. Boring, but standard and kind of expected. So Drake needs 820 HMS points to start. HMS is a kind of full faction, so it's not as difficult as some other factions. You need 700 HMS fleet tech to start Chesire, 600 KMS or German fleet tech to start Odin, 550 German fleet tech to start Mainz, and you need 760 USS fleet tech and 700 HMS fleet tech to start Champagne. So kind of weird. You need to have like a mix of British and the US, but I guess for Gascon you needed a mix of like German and something like that. I think I'm not exactly sure what it is, but more or less you need to have your USS and HMS. So someone like me can start pretty much all of the ships right off the bat. But if you're newer, it might take you a little bit while, especially for those KMS ships if you want to start them. And what are we going to need for the experience requirements? That's going to be the same as PR2. All of your blueprints, as well as your basically your retrofit gold items and your gold, are going to be exactly the same as before. So a tedious grind nonetheless, but they didn't up the requirements for PR3 like they did from PR1 to PR2. And yeah, all the requirements are going to be based on Vanguard or main fleet, so you don't have to worry about like special positioning. So that's nice, because it was a pain when you were grinding for Rune and you couldn't use like any of the destroyers that you had. Alright guys, that's it for everything that we have. There's probably more coming out. There might be some inaccuracies in this because, we're trying to get this out really quickly. We started this probably 10 p.m. when we started getting some of the stuff in. So it's been a long night here, and some of everything's been changing. We're trying to get everything up there. So not gonna say everything is 100% accurate, but we're trying to get this out to you guys as quick as possible, so you guys can know what's coming out before the maintenance is over. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a little bit longer because we're going through a lot of information here, but yeah, good luck. And you guys probably no rush here. Probably gonna take at least a month before we start completing ships here, even for the paid people. Probably 6 months before we get a good chunk of them done. So thank you guys for watching. Take care.